What's going on, everyone? Talks to Kenny here. Today we're reacting to the election results, and it's gonna be a Ben Shapiro video. But before that, I want to give my reaction to the midterm results. I know it didn't go as everyone expected. I was calling 55 seats. Look like we ain't gonna get 55, maybe 51 if we're lucky. But I kind of wanted to give my perspective on what I thought happened. I just think it was just tribal politics. End of the day, people are willing to suffer personally just to have their team win. That's what it showed to me, because I think for a lot of people, they're just comfortable in their ways. They're just comfortable voting Democrat, and voting Republican is too uncomfortable for them. Or like maybe what Ben's going to get into here is that the candidate, the other candidate, wasn't good enough to really justify them moving from that comfort zone, because it takes a lot for someone that was a staunch Democrat all the way, and no matter how much they're suffering, no matter record inflation in 40 years, no matter how high the gas prices go, no matter that the fact that they're in a recession and layoffs are becoming more and more rapid throughout the year, they'll still be able to rationalize. They'll change. They'll change. Look what happened with Gavin Newsom. They recalled him, and this election they reelected him by a similar margin, like I think 15%. He won California. You complain about the guy, you recalled the guy. Larry Elder ran against him. He still went, and then he wins his election. I'm telling you, if people can rationalize it, they'll still vote. They'll still stay in their comfort zone. And it shows to me that Katie Hobbs in Arizona, she knows her voters. She knows, hey, if I don't expose my voters to Carrie Lake, right? Yeah, I'm going to take some hits from the social media. Yeah, I'm going to take hits from independents and Republicans. But I know is if I can keep the public discourse from her, it keeps my base safe. So that way they'll just vote for me. Because at the end of the day, what I noticed with the Democratic Party is that they almost have like this hive mind, collective, cog type framework, where you're not necessarily only voting for the candidate, you're voting for the party. And the party is top down. Like, hey, this is where all Democrats believe in. If you don't believe in this, you're not a Democrat. If you're not pro-choice, you're not a Democrat. That's the Democratic platform. So when they bring out a representation, you're like, oh, I know what I'm getting with this. It's almost like a franchise. If you go to any Smoothie King, you know the menu of every Smoothie King, no matter what location, no matter what district, no matter what state, you know what you're getting. And that's the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party says, you know what you're getting. This is the platform. Everyone abides by that platform. But with the Republican Party, it's more individualized. Like, this candidate might disagree with this candidate. Like, end of the day, there's different styles and different philosophies within the Republican Party. And I think this is why it's just hard to just vote Republican, because in the Republican Party, it's not top down, it's bottom up, right? What works in Kansas, right, where they didn't ban abortion, may not work in Florida. And you get two different kind of Republicans there. But in a Democratic state, it doesn't matter where you go, you get the same thing. I'm just saying. That's an observation I just noticed. I digress. Let's get into the video.
There need to be some lessons for the future here. Republicans seem to have a very, very nasty habit. And the nasty habit is that they keep going back to the well of magic. They keep thinking, okay, well, but people will hate Democrats so much that we can nominate literally anybody. We can nominate that dude on a street corner. I mean, sure, he's shouting at the sky and he's scratching at himself with one of those weird back scratcher things. And sure, he's got fleas and rabies, but that guy, anyone could beat Biden, right? I mean, anyone can beat these Democrats. I mean, these Democrats, these woke idiots, like anyone could beat them. We could run dog turkey. Wrong. You have to run actual good, responsible candidates. Learn your lesson, guys.
And that he just articulated Fetterman, right? But end of the day, Fetterman can get away with it because, like I said, Democrats are top down. Like, leadership dictates what the candidates are, instead of the party like accepting candidates that's coming out. Like, that's how Trump won the Republican Party, right? He's not your regular Republican. He's not your traditional Republican. But he made a case, and the Republican voters liked it, and that's how he won the nomination. While in the Democratic Party is, oh, you don't fall in line, Bernie Sanders, we'll give our super delegates to Hillary Clinton, and that's how she wins her primaries. The party dictates which candidate goes and which candidate doesn't, right? Because they want to protect or have a representation of the Democratic brand. In the Republican Party, it doesn't fly like that. So as a Republican, it matters more the quality of the candidate compared to the Democrats. Because I think what the Republicans thought, they thought they could do what a Democrat does. Oh, all we gotta do is slap an R on his name and he'll win the election. And that's not how it's been proven true. That's the reality. The reality is the Republicans can't play the same strategy in the same game as the Democratic Party because you guys are not the same party. You're a different party. So therefore, there's different expectations for a Republican than there is for a Democrat. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. We can't run just anybody and win. It sucks to say that. It sucks to say that. But there's more diversity of opinions in the Republican Party than in the Democratic Party. But there's trade-offs with that. Everyone's will focus more on the individual in the Republican Party compared to just the collective in the Democratic Party. It's crazy how they're literally the polar opposites of each other. They could put a guy who suffered a stroke, who may or may not be able to perform his job, time will tell, and he beats someone who's fully able. Now, you can say, Oz didn't really campaign like that, and I don't know. I'm in Florida. Like I said, I can give a kind of general guess everywhere else, but I know my state the best. That's it. That's all I can really tell you. But I'm just giving you my thoughts. Let's continue.
And lest you think, again, that this is some sort of out-of-the-box strategy, that there's no evidence to back this. There's sort of no counter example to what happened with Republicans last night. There were several. I mentioned Brian Kemp already. But the big counter example of the night is there was one area of the country where there was indeed not just a red trickle, not just a red tide, not just a red wave, a red tsunami. One specific area of the country, can you name it? One specific area of the country where the Republicans cleaned up, where there wasn't a vote in sight that they didn't get. That area, you guessed it, is Florida. In Florida, the Republicans did heavy damage, serious damage. In fact, because Florida reports its results fast and in clean fashion, like the polls closed at 7 p.m. in most of Florida except for the Panhandle, by like 8 p.m. Eastern last night, we knew the results in Florida. And that's why there was a lot of feeling in the Republican side of the aisle. I mean, we were covering it live last night at Daily Wire. Plus, there's a feeling that this might be a red wave.
Now, before he gets into it, I wanted to talk about the election process. I think every state should look at what works. Hey, how come Florida's a way bigger state than Arizona? Why is it taking Arizona almost 2 days to finish counting votes? It's ridiculous. Florida got 7 million people in its state. And Arizona got about, I think, 1 million maybe? And y'all take longer than a state that's 7 times your size? That shouldn't be happening. And I think that who's in charge of the election? The Democratic runner in the race in Arizona? She's in charge of the election. Why we don't learn from each other? That's the reason why we have the separations of states. That's why every state can create its own law. So we can look, hey, that worked for them. We can take notes from Florida. Like I don't get why it's so hard to do that. But I guess, hey, look, end of the day, that's the procedures y'all ran the election in. If you lose by that procedure, look, you're not gonna get me to say, oh, there's voter fraud, there's something fishy. Yes, I understand machines break, and I work in tech. I understand like stuff breaks. Computers are the most unreliable thing in the world. That's why I don't want electric cars, because having computer chips in electric cars make them more prone to failure. Count your vote. If early vote come in, have them tallied already. That's how Florida does it. And by the time the poll closes, boom, all the early votes are already up, and we're counting the election day votes. I don't understand. It's common sense, but I guess common sense is not common. But hey, I digress. Let's get into it.
But it turns out it was not a red wave. It was just that Florida Republicans know what they are doing, and Ron DeSantis is an excellent candidate who is good at governing and then does the culture war issues as the icing on the cake. Wipeout for Democrats in Florida. Absolute wipeout. On every possible level, a wipeout. I mean, let's take a look at some of these results. Let's start with the governor's race. This was supposed to be a relatively close race when this thing first started. Recall, Ron DeSantis won his last race for governor against Andrew Gillum, a gay meth addict. He won that race by 30,000 votes. 30,000 in a state that has, 7 million votes per election, 6, 7, 8 million votes per election. He won by 30,000 votes, 0.4% of the vote. In this particular election, Ron DeSantis won 59% of the vote. 59%. So he went from winning by...
And people were actually in my conversation getting mad at me when I posted a video saying Ron DeSantis destroyed Charlie Crist. And people were like, oh, Ron DeSantis didn't destroy anything but a Whopper, like making fun of me, saying that I don't know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, yo, you gonna tell me, a Floridian, that I don't know what I'm talking about? And the funny part is, I gave pretext. I gave context. I said, hey, Florida's have more registered Republicans than Democrats. That means Charlie Crist has to come into the debate and have to be able to pry some of that Republican vote. And you know what Charlie Crist did in Florida? He said, hey, I don't want your vote. He said that. He said he didn't want independence votes, and he didn't want Rob DeSantis vote, not Republican votes. He said, stay over there. I want my people to vote for me. And I'm like, if you do that, you lose. There's not a lot of Democrats that will vote with you. There's 700,000 more Republicans than Democrats. So if everyone vote partisan, you lose, Charlie Crist. But hey, I mean, you died on principles. I can respect that, Charlie Crist. You say you didn't want their vote, and they answered 19% deficit. But hey, I don't think Charlie Crist wasn't a serious candidate. I just think he came here just to fundraise, and then that was it. That's pretty much what he did. That's why the Democrats cut off the money supply like 2 weeks early, because they're like, yo, you're not winning. I don't know why you keep asking for the money. But I digress. Let's continue.
By 0.4% of the vote to winning by 1 bajillion votes. Like the numbers don't exist anymore. We've run beyond the scope of actual mathematics in terms of how big this victory was for Ron DeSantis. 59.4% of the vote for Ron DeSantis. He beat Charlie Crist last night like a rug. He beat him by 1.5 million votes, 4.6 million to 3.1 million. So from a 30,000 vote victory to a 1.5 million vote victory 4 years later. That is evidence of organization on the ground. That is evidence of excellent governance. That is evidence that you can convert independents to your own side. It is evidence that you have turned a purple state into a bright red, blazing red state, Tennessee, Utah-like red state.
So, and I kind of want to give a more nuance, because I'm born in Florida, and I possibly will die in Florida. And a Florida Democrat, if you were to take a Florida Democrat and move them to New York, the New Yorkers will think he's a Republican. Because a lot of Florida Democrats and a lot of Florida Republicans, they share a lot in common. It's just little minor, not minor, but significant little differences. But commonality they share. Pro-family, they're very family-oriented. We're multicultural here. We got immigrants from all over the world, all over the Caribbean here. Very pro-family here. So we have a lot of shared values. We can relate to each other a lot easier than other states, I think. So that's why it's so easy. That's why I thought, I was thinking oh, America will see they're suffering inflation. Joe Biden's spending bills are not doing what it's intended to do. Is actually causing the problems. People will recognize that and vote the opposite way to prevent Biden from doing that. But that's not what happened across the states, the other states. The other states, it seemed like people were like, yo, I'm comfortable voting Democrat, and I'm going to just put them in power. That's what it seemed like to me happened. It seemed like to me people was like, I don't care about high gas prices. I want I want to resolve climate change. And if it means that I have to pay higher gas prices, so be it. And that's what I think happened. No matter what they're suffering at a personal level, they want their guy to win. So that way when they go on Twitter, they can brag, red tsunami, more like a red drip, more like a red ripple. That's what happened in the midterm elections. But I digress. Let's continue.
This state is not on the board for Democrats, and that is because there is no substitute for good candidates who are good at their jobs and engage less in the culture war crazy than they do in the actual governance of their state, and certainly don't engage in stupid issues that are going to be counterproductive. Ron DeSantis is a culture warrior, no question. He will fight critical race theory. He will fight woke. In his victory speech last night, he said that Florida is where woke comes to die. He is correct. Here was DeSantis.
We have embraced freedom. We have maintained law and order. We have protected the rights of parents. We have respected our taxpayers, and we reject woke ideology.
You know what I noticed too? He used we a lot. And a lot of, I think a lot of people, politicians in general, they'll think they did it by themselves, when really the voters put you in that position to do what you can do, right? And that's why I was trying to say, what comes first? How you get an opportunity to show that you're a good governor. In the end of the day, you need endorsements. That's why Trump is a big part of why Robin DeSantis got into office. Now, Robin DeSantis already had political experience compared to Herschel Walker, Oz, I believe, they didn't have no political experience. So they don't know how to fundraise. They don't know how to do grassroots movement thing. They just thought, oh, you throw me some money, Republican Party, I throw an ad out there, I'm going to win. And that's proven to be not the case. You lost. Oz lost. Who else lost? A lot of people lost. Carrie Lake was like, I think she ran a good race there. And I think she still has a chance to win. Like at the time of this video, they still haven't been done counting. And I think that's sad. Like how a state 7 times bigger than Arizona, I know I keep rehashing this point, but how you guys are still not done counting your votes when states bigger than you are already done. That's a sign to me, whoever wins or lose, whatever, that they need to fix what's going on. I don't think this is acceptable anymore, bro. That's just my thoughts, though. Let's get back into it.
We fight the woke in the legislature. We fight the woke in the schools. We fight the woke in the corporations. We will never, ever surrender to the woke mob. Florida is where woke goes to die.
Okay, so, yes, he fights the woke. Also, he's really good at being a governor. You can do both those things. So there are a lot of people on my side of the aisle, a lot of Republicans, a lot of conservatives. They're like, why can't Republicans message on this stuff? The answer is because, again, don't let the icing be the cake. You can't have the cake without the icing. Otherwise, it's not a very good cake. But you can also not have the icing without the cake is nothing. The icing without the cake is Don Baldock. The icing without the cake is Doug Mastriano. The icing with the cake is Ron DeSantis. And the cake without the icing is Mike DeWine. Okay, so what that sounds like, actually, is that the main thing Republicans have to do is focus on not alienating every voter in sight by embracing silliness, by embracing things that the American voters do not care about. There's a lot of talk in the election lead up about how Democrats were ignoring what the voters wanted. And that's true. Many Democrats did ignore what the voters wanted. But as it turns out, the Joe Biden pitch, and Joe Biden is going to be the nominee now for the Democrats in 2024. We'll get.
Yeah. Some people think that this is a silver lining, like, yes, we got the guy we want, but I don't know how I feel about it, because I don't think the country is going to run forward just having Biden rerun again. Like, because I don't know. Because to me, this is one of the reasons why I think that Trump should debate against, like, DeSantis should run and Trump should run, and they both should battle it out in the primaries. Now, I know a lot of people saying, no, Kenny, we do that. That's mutual destruction. We're going to turn off our own base. But because Ben's talking about, hey, Ron DeSantis is the future. And then there's people saying, nah, like Ron DeSantis would not have a future without Trump. So why would we ditch Trump when we still have him in our lever? And I agree. Like, Trump is a one-term president only. That means when he goes in, he's going to clean house. Ron DeSantis may not clean house because he's like, yo, I want to get reelected. So he's going to be more like balanced because he's worried about his electability, while Trump won't worry about his electability. That's one of the reasons why I want Trump to run again. So to hash it out, like, because end of the day, everyone's going to give their side. They give their opinion. Oh, we shouldn't move from Trump. We shouldn't move from Trump. I just say, hey, let's look at the reality. Let's not suffer. Let's stop suffering from imagination. Let's stop imagining scenarios of who's better, who's not better. Let them hash it out. Put them in a debate. Put them both of them in the primary. Both of them run, and whoever wins it, the party falls behind. That's it. Now, I think there's a lot of political risk for both of them. Actually, not for Trump, because Trump's end of the day, Trump's our one-term president anyway. I think there's a lot of risk on Ron DeSantis' side, because if he loses that debate with Donald Trump, he'll probably be done being the nominee, and then we'll probably be looking at Carrie Lake for 2028. That's just my take. You can agree, disagree. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. I'll get back into the video.
To the impact on Biden and Trump in a second. Joe Biden pushing for the democracy talk, it turns out that wasn't about threats to democracy. It was about, do you trust these Republicans to govern? And when Republicans act as though they can't be trusted with governance, they don't win. And when they can be trusted with governance, they win, and they win enormous. They win huge. If you look at a map of Florida, the results here are absolutely astonishing. They are. I mean, I'm looking right now at the map of Florida and how it went in this gubernatorial race. And Ron DeSantis won Miami-Dade. You can't win Miami-Dade if you're a Republican. That's not possible. He won Miami-Dade. If you look at the exit polling, Ron DeSantis won Hispanics outright. Outright. Mm-hmm. The GOP picked up several congressional seats in Florida. National Republicans saw Tampa Bay's open seats, according to the Tampa Bay Times, as a path toward reclaiming control of Congress. And they achieved it. Florida is now sending 20 Republicans to the U.S. House of Representatives. That is an increase of 4. Remember, Republicans needed to pick up 5 in order to take the House. So Florida alone almost put the Republicans over the top.
Wow. Hey, I think what both parties need to start working on is development, because in my view, Democrats got no one in the bench. Maybe Gavin Newsom, but I feel like he's more of the same. I don't think there's no new blood in there. Republicans got a lot of new blood. Ron DeSantis, new blood. Kerry Lake, new blood. Even Blake Masters, kind of, right? I just think that this new strategy now is because Mitch McConnell, Kevin McCarthy, they're not going to be there forever. And they try to act like they'll be there forever, right? This is why I say, hey, we should get a new House majority leader. We should get a new Senate majority leader, right? But no, we're going to go with the tried and true guys, but the tried and true guys should be getting ready, for, like grooming a successor. Like, oh, this is going to be the next guy up. To guarantee the future of your party. But I don't think a lot of politicians think that way, because they think, oh, you guys need me. So it's to solidify their own position. They'll be like, no, we don't want to develop anybody. But that hurts the American people. It benefits you, the politicians. And I just think that should be the new way forward. Like, these politicians should focus on developing their quote unquote bench. So they know, hey, these are the next ones up. These are the future leaders of the party. But we don't get any of that. And I think that's the main problem with quality candidates. That's affecting candidate quality. Democrats can get away with it. I already told you. They top down. The candidates follow what leadership says they will, or else they don't get elected. Bernie Sanders, I'm telling you, Bernie Sanders is the most prominent example of what I'm talking about. Because he was supposed to win. If you listen to Democratic voters in 2016, they were like, we elected Bernie Sanders to win. And then what the party did, they have a rule in the Democratic Party, they have super delegates. That means they got party, the party leadership can decide on their own and give votes to a candidate of their choosing. And it's enough to sway it to their favor. So literally, it don't matter what the Democratic voters want. It matters what the super delegates want. So when the super delegates like, yeah, Bernie, you sound cool, but we want Hillary Clinton. And then he got snubbed again with Biden, I believe. That's how Biden won. Super delegates were like, yo, Biden's our guy. Boom. He won. The Republicans, they don't run like that. Hey, whoever the voters pick, that's who's running. No matter what the Republican leadership want. That's how Trump won. Trump literally said that's why he went to the Republican Party and not the Democratic Party. Because he knew if he goes to the Democratic Party, he knew the super delegates really decides who goes where. I'm just saying. Maybe I got it wrong. Let me know in the comment section if I said anything wrong about that. The super delegates and stuff like that. I digress, though.
The rest of the country combined is going to provide the Republicans with maybe another 4 to 10 seats. Combined. The state of Florida carried it last night. It was Lee Zeldin in New York winning those House seats. That's 3. And then it is the Republicans in Florida picking up 4. That is 7. So that means that more than half of the Republican gains, in all likelihood, are going to come from those 2 states alone, with competent people running. Florida and New York. And by the way, yeah, again, it wasn't just DeSantis. It was up and down the ballot. First of all, Charlie Crist had to concede because Charlie Crist has now run for every single party, and there are parties for him to, like, he's now looking for a pool party to run to.
That's true.
Because just bad night for Charlie Crist. There was Crist acknowledging that, in fact, his strategy of alienating every independent and Republican voter was a bad strategy.
Yeah, he said he didn't want you guys voting for him. He didn't want to convince anyone that's a non-Democrat to vote for him. He took this staunch that, hey, is it either my way or the highway, Florida voters? And Florida voters look at him like, oh, you think it's back in the old days. Oh, Democrats tell you what to vote for and we're going to follow you. Oh, hold that. Hold this L.
Thank you. First and foremost, I want to give a good congratulations to Governor DeSantis on his reelection. That's okay.
Yeah, you went into like Carter Chris is. I don't know if you guys mentioned I heard my other commentary with Charlie Chris, but Charlie Chris, bro, he's like go with the wind. Three parties, come on. And this guy, and the fun part is when he went into debate, I was like, yo, you have to somehow pry 700,000 Republicans away from Ron DeSantis, or you're gonna lose. And he lost. Oh, I don't want to earn their vote. I don't want none of his. I don't want none of his constituents. I don't want none of his voters. How you gonna win? How are you gonna win? There's 700,000 more Republicans in Florida than Democrats, and you think you're gonna win the state without Republicans? Oh, you crazy as hell. You crazy as hell. But hey, that's why you lost by 19. That's the reality.
That's okay. That's okay, guys. That's okay. I'm just going to read you a couple stats on how well DeSantis did last night. The Cuban vote in 2018 went 67% for Ron DeSantis. There are a bunch of people out there saying, well, when he wins the Hispanic vote, you just mean Cubans. Nope, that is not what I mean. He won 67% of the Cuban vote in Florida in 2018. He won 68% of the Cuban vote in Florida in 2022. So Cubans voted Republican like they always vote Republican in the state of Florida. The Puerto Rican vote in 2018 went 34% for Ron DeSantis. It went 55% for Ron DeSantis. That is a shift of 21 points among Puerto Rican voters in the state of Florida. Good governance. Ain't no substitute for it. Among other Latinos, 34% voted for the Republican in 2018. 50% voted for Ron DeSantis in 2022. Candidate quality, gubernatorial standards, being disciplined in your races. You know, the things that make up like the basic mathematics of politics, they still apply. Yelling at the sky is not, in fact, a strategy. And if Republicans wish to actually win broad victories over the course of the next decade or so, they're going to need to put away the childish playthings with which they have been preoccupied. I'm talking about the House leadership. I'm talking about the presidential leadership. That means that discipline needs to be in order here. There will be some opportunity for Republicans. There are going to be some silver linings here, which we'll get to in just one.
Yeah, so with that clip, you guys get a general sense of where he was going with this, that Republicans need to learn from this, and I agree with that. Like, I do think the Republicans need to learn from this, but I honestly think that Trump seems to be stuck in the past, and being stuck, like if you're looking back all the time, there's no way you can go forward. And that's my thing. This is why I want Ron DeSantis to run, and I want Donald Trump to run, because at the end of the day, one thing everyone recognizes is Trump's show. Trump is the most popular Republican in history. That means you're not getting his voters unless he gives it or you take them. And what opportunity you have to take it? Because at the end of the day, Trump ain't giving up nothing. Trump ain't quitting. Trump said, I'm running 2024. He may not say it. He didn't say it overtly, but we all know it. We all know he's coming 2024. And if everyone thinks Matt Walsh, the Ben Shapiro, even Candace, I think Candace Owens' opinion of Donald Trump is starting to switch now too. If y'all think Ron DeSantis is the guy, pressure him to run in the primaries and have him and Trump duke it out. I don't care. I'm not worried about mutual destruction, because at the end of the day, if you care about the country, whoever come out of that primary, you're going to support them. That's just my take. If Trump is still the guy, Trump has to earn it. That's my take. Trump has to earn his spot again, because in basketball or in sports, you know, if you want to be the guy, you have to beat the guy. That's my philosophy. So if Ron DeSantis think he's the guy, Ron DeSantis challenge Donald Trump and you beat him in debate in front of the Republican Party. That's it. And like I said in my earlier monologue, if Ron DeSantis gets this wrong, this could be political suicide for him. Like he probably will never be a candidate again if he gets this wrong. That's why I'm saying the safer bet is if he runs 2028. That's a safer bet. Because I don't know, but if Trump and him debate, I think Trump's going to win. Because I already saw how he debated against Charlie Crist. And I know, like, when Charlie Crist asked him about, ask if you're going to commit 4 years to Florida. I saw that kind of shook Ron DeSantis. And I agree with you guys. You guys pointed it out. And I thought it was a non-issue because at the end of the day, I said Charlie Crist don't have the political weight to really ask that question. Donald Trump does, though. So if Donald Trump asks a question like that to Ron DeSantis, I want to see how Ron DeSantis responds, because that's one of Ron DeSantis' weak points. And they're going to do that in the general election, too. So it's better that Trump prepare him now if he's going to be the guy. But I digress. Let me guys know what you think. You think that Ron DeSantis should run in 2024, regardless of if Trump runs or not? Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.